the Pacific Ocean, the grand Pacific Ocean, here in the grand golden state of California. Look at that view, everybody. We are here in San Simeon, California, 1,600 feet above that beautiful San Simeon Harbor and Pacific Ocean. Can you imagine waking up every morning and seeing this outside your front door? That's exactly what William Randolph Hearst got to see every time he was here at Hearst Castle in San Simeon, California, halfway between San Francisco, California to the north and Los Angeles, California to the south. On behalf of California State Parks, I want to welcome you to Hearst Castle, one of your 280 California state parks. My name is Laura. I'm a guide here at Hearst Castle. We want to welcome you to another edition of Parks PE. Our theme today, Maritime Momentum. The word maritime, spelled M-A-R-I-T-I-M-E, for those of you that want to spell it out, is a word that connotes the ocean or the sea. And the exercises we're doing today will have to do with the ocean and the sea. Now, before we get started today, we need to go over a few safety and health guidelines because of the fact that we are in the middle of the pandemic. You'll notice that I'm wearing a mask. And that mask, of course, is to protect not only myself, but my coworkers around here. Currently, Hearst Castle is closed to the public, and we want to ensure that your health and safety are prioritized, even though you're not here at Hearst Castle. So you'll want to go ahead and keep that mask on too, unless, of course, you're with friends and family indoors. Now, in accordance with CDC federal guidelines and state of California guidelines, when we're outside exercising, which we're going to be doing today, we can remove those masks so long as we maintain a good 6 to 8 feet of physical distance between ourselves and anybody who's around us. My co-workers that are here today, including my camera person, we're going to go ahead and make sure we maintain that good distance, because right now I'm going to remove my mask since we're going to be exercising. Speaking of which, because of the fact we're going to be doing somewhere between 10 and 12 exercises with about 5 to 15 repetitions per exercise, you'll want to also maintain good health and safety for yourself. If you start to get a little winded, your breathing rate goes up, your heart rate goes up, please take a little break and then rejoin us for future exercises. Also, you'll notice I'm holding in my hand a water bottle. Water is essential for all life on planet Earth, especially when we're exercising. We might get a little dehydrated or thirsty or parched. So take a sip off your water bottle. As we like to say at Parks PE, your own hydration station. Also, if you have other water bottles at your home or wherever you're located, or maybe some canned goods from your cupboard at home, bring those on out if you want to challenge yourself a little bit with some of our upper body exercises we'll be doing today. So William Randolph Hearst decided to build up here about 100 years ago with his architect, Julia Morgan, the first female architect who happened to be licensed in the state of California. And he would come up here, his childhood dream come true, and spend summer after summer up here. Now, as we go ahead and walk along what's called the Esplanade here, I want to introduce you to some very special guests today. They are also tour guides up here at Hearst Castle. And if you go ahead and raise your hand and wave to both Margaret here to the left and Sylvia to the right, give them a big good morning from wherever you're located, California, somewhere else in the United States, or somewhere across the world. Now, because they're going to be exercising with us today, they can go ahead now and remove their mask. But you might want to take a look at Margaret's mask. She actually has ocean waves on that mask that she's modeling so nicely, because it's maritime momentum up here.
Yes, I always coordinate my accessories. The theme. I coordinated the theme.
So she's got the ocean waves on her mask. All right. Like any good exercise program, we have a warm up and we have a cool down. And we're going to warm up at one of Mr. William Randolph Hearst's favorite places to stay while the castle was being built. Over here to the left, you're looking at one of 3 cottages Mr. Hurst had Julia Morgan, his architect, build. It's called Casa Del Mar. And for those of you that know Spanish, you know what that means. It's the house of the sea. And we're going to be talking a little bit about the ornate decorations on that Casa Del Mar a little bit later. But let's focus on the flowers that you see here in the back side of Casa Del Mar. These are known as camellias. And those camellias happen to be Japanese flowers. And those Japanese flowers, you're going to see a lot of those throughout 20 to 25 acres of gardens here that Mr. Hurst happened to create along with structures here. Now, the camellias are also going to serve as the basis of our first of 2 warm-up exercises. Now, that being said, I want you to imagine the types of insects that might crawl around in the camellias there, like caterpillars and butterflies. Because caterpillars and butterflies, imagine what they look like. They're going to be the basis of our exercises to warm up. Starting with the caterpillars. The camellia, crawling caterpillars, what we're going to do. Now, I failed to mention this, but a lot of our exercises are going to be on the ground today. So you'll see that Sylvia and Margaret and myself, we have some mats on the ground. If you're outside, you can go ahead and find some grassy area. But go ahead and find a mat because we're going to come down onto the ground here for these crawling camellia caterpillars. We want to go ahead and stand to the edge of our mat here, just like so. And with the 3 of us here, we're going to be showing different modifications of this exercise, along with all the exercises today. Keep in mind, you want to have good posture during this exercise, as we do for all exercises. So I'll turn myself away from the camera. You want to make sure that your stance when you're standing up is a hip to shoulder width stance. Bring your shoulders up and back, so you've got a proud chest. Drop your shoulder blades into imaginary back pockets, and then tighten your tummy and tighten your rear end, just like that. Now I'll turn back to the camera. We'll have our feet at the edge of the mat, just like that. And we're going to do what's called a little hip hinge, like so, coming into a squat. Now notice as I squat, I'm sitting back. Sometimes when we squat, people have a tendency to squat with their knees. You want to pretend we're sitting in a chair like that. The other thing about a squat we want to be careful with is that we do not knock our knees or the knees too far out. So line up your hips with your knees and your ankles when we start to do this exercise. All right, so ladies, shoulders up, shoulders back. We're going to go to that little hip hinge, into the squat, and now arms out in front with the palms facing each other. We're going to walk it on out, just like a caterpillar. Hold what's called a plank pose, making sure your wrists, elbows, shoulders are aligned. Hold for a moment, then crawl back in, that caterpillar crawl, and unsquat, open up, and then raise your arms up overhead. Let's do that again. So hinge, squat, arms in front, palms together, walk it out, easy, caterpillar crawl, hold, and crawl back in, unsquat, open up, wings overhead, arms overhead. All right, so if we have a hard time doing that with our shoulders, there's another exercise that we can do. And this modification, Margaret's going to show you this one. We just simply go ahead and do the hinge and then come back up. Arms at the side. We hinge and then we come back up. Now, if you want more than just the hinge, and you can put a little bend in your knees there, by the way, you could also go hinge into squat. So you've got 2 movements there. Hinge into squat. We're trying to warm up the lower body as well as the upper body and get the heart rate going. If you want more than that, put 3 moves in. Hinge, squat, arms in front. That way you don't have to involve your shoulders with the caterpillar crawl. All right? Now, we'll do that one more time for the modification, and we're going to go back to the caterpillars. And Sylvia is going to show you something a little bit more challenging. So we'll hinge, we squat, we're going to crawl on out after we extend those arms. And Sylvia is going to show you either on your knees or on your toes a push up. So we push down, push up, come to the toes, and we crawl back in, unsquat, open up, and hop to the top. Okay? So if you want to do the modification Sylvia is doing, feel free to do that. Let's try 7 more of these, shall we? Caterpillar crawls, or the hip hinge squat, or the hop at the top. Here we go, Sylvia, 6 more. Count for us, Sylvia, if you would. Woo! 5. Nice hop there, Sylvia. Woo! That warmed us up, that's for sure. All right, everybody. It's a warm day here at Hearst Castle. So we're gonna take a little hydration station break. And while we're doing so, the camera's gonna pan back over to those beautiful camellias. We'll catch our breath. It's quite the warm up, to say the least. And think about not only those caterpillars crawling through there, but also butterflies crawling on there too. How many of you know what happens to caterpillars when they grow up? I bet you know they become butterflies. How many of you knew? How many of you knew that caterpillars become butterflies after they grow up? But we'll just continue, ladies. All right. So,
We're good. We had 2 hand raises.
all right, 2 hand raises. Awesome. We know it's spring break, so maybe some of us aren't necessarily out there, but that's okay. All right. So, butterflies, of course, are the end result of what caterpillars grow up to be. And butterflies like to spread their wings. Now, you can do this particular exercise as seated or standing. If you're feeling a little out of breath from our caterpillar crawlers, go ahead and sit yourself down. Otherwise, the 3 of us, we're going to stand and do this. Now, again, posture is all important. Shoulder to hip width stance. Bring your shoulders up and back. Drop the shoulder blades down. Tight tummy and tight rear end. And what we're going to do is we're going to extend our arms out just like wings, like so. Arms are parallel with the ground, and we're going to just simply pulse back, like we're trying to squeeze a pencil between our shoulder blades, just like so. Now, if this is too much for some of us, bring those arms down just like that, palms facing outward, and you can just hold that pose or even do a rotation that Margaret is going to show you right now. I want you to think about your tetherball equipment on your playground at your schools. Now, as you do the tetherball swing, for those of you that want to do this exercise instead, make sure your hips are square straight on. We're just moving and rotating everything from the waist on up, okay? Otherwise, we might hurt our back if we twist our hips. But Sylvia and I, we're going to go back to the butterflies. We're going to extend those arms out just like so, and we can pulse. Now, if that's not enough for you, Sylvia and I are going to show you the challenge. You can go ahead and flap the wings in so you're hugging yourself nice and tight, and then you come out with that wingspan. And hug yourself, alternating the arms. So as the left arm goes up on one, hugging yourself, the right arm on the next time. Just like so. And you can go a little faster to get your heart rate involved and get a lot of blood flow through your shoulders. And if you want to make this even tougher, you can go ahead and throw a squat into this. So as you come out, you squat, and then you come up, you exhale down, and you come up. Sylvia, let's do 10 of these. Counting down from 10. Don't forget to breathe. Exhale, inhale. There it is, and that's our warm up, everybody. Okay, if you need to, grab some water, catch your breath, let that heart rate come down. Now we're going to come back to Casa Del Mar and take a look at some of the artwork embedded underneath the rooftop of the House of the Sea there. You're going to notice little baby heads up there, and between those baby heads are some tiles. We're going to talk about the baby heads and then later about the tiles. Those baby heads, Mr. Hurst loved what are called cherubs, C-H-E-R-U-B-S. They look like little babies, and you'll notice that they have wings. I want you to think of those as arms and pretend that they're standing, even though you can't see their feet. Because those little cherubs, which are made of cast concrete, Julia Morgan, hire people to go ahead and create, craftspeople, that's the basis of our next exercise, what are called cherub core crunches. And as the camera pans back to us, you can do this seated or you can do this standing. And so what we're going to go ahead and do is bring those wings up, pretend that we're those little babies there, okay? Get that stance, shoulders up and back, get the shoulder width stance, good posture, and we're going to crunch by bringing our knees up to our elbows. We're bending the knees, we're bending the elbows. Cherub core crunches, just like so. Now the core involves basically the shoulders all the way down to the knees. Now for some of us, we might have trouble doing this with our arms overhead. So how can we do this as a modification? We can just simply march in place. That will give us a core workout and a nice little crunch too, just like so. You go a little faster if you want. If you want, keep your arms at your side like you're running in place, just like so. Now, as we go back to the chair up core crunches, arms up overhead, we can make this more challenging by going a little faster. So as Margaret shows you possibly a modification using just the arms or the legs only, but you can also do this just arms only. I failed to show that. Sylvia and I, we're going to do a little bit faster. We're going to do about 10 of these. And if we want to make it even tougher, rotate opposite elbow to opposite knee. Here we go, Sylvia. Count it down from 10.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4,
Oh, yeah.
3,
Woo!
2,
1. Yeah. All right. First exercise down. After those 2 warm-ups, let's go into fourth exercise. Now, tiles, I mentioned those a little bit ago. In between each of those baby heads, the cherubs that you see there, you see 2 lions facing opposite directions of each other there. Those are mythological lions. It's what an ancient artist would have surmised, artistry in terms of art, what a lion looks like. Now, Mr. Hurst loved ancient civilizations and ancient art. He was a great art collector, but he also liked to collect animals. He had a zoo here, 80 different species. 2 of them were lions, African lions and the California mountain lion. And the lions are the basis of our next exercise. Perhaps you're looking at a picture of a California mountain lion as we talk about this. Now, this is going to require us to get to the ground again. So when I get those mats, for those feet next to the mats, at the bottom of the mat rather, shoulders up, shoulders back, keep a hip width stance, just like the caterpillar crawlers. We're going to go into a hip hinge. We're going to come down into that squat, arms out in front, just like the caterpillar crawler, except we're going to crawl out and get onto our knees, okay? And then we'll crawl out a little bit farther and bring it up onto our toes. So we're in a plank position. But instead of crawling back in, we're going to run in place like a mountain lion, just like so. We can run or we can walk. Now, what if some of us have an issue with our shoulders holding our body weight up like that? Well, we can do what's called a cat-cow exercise instead. And Margaret's going to show you a little bit about that as I turn myself away from the camera. Again, wrist, elbow, shoulders, all aligned, knees under the hips. And I want you to think about what a cat does. It arches its back, okay? And of course, lions are cats. And then we'll go into cow pose, where we extend the rear end, kind of hyperextend the back here, and eyes skyward. Now, why is a cow part of this exercise? Mr. Hurst had a cattle ranch here. In fact, it still operates today on 80,000 acres of ranch land. So it's a cat and a cow, a meow, or a roar, and a moo. Okay, and so we want us to do about 15 of those, while Sylvia and I, we're going to go back to the mountain lion climber. Okay, now if this is too much for you, you just simply stay on all fours and hold the position. Otherwise, join Sylvia and me as we do the mountain lion climber. I'm going to walk in place, and Sylvia is going to run in place as the modification. And if you want, you can also take your opposite knee, your opposite elbow. 15, Sylvia, let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11,
Woo!
12,
13, 14, 15.
oh yeah, woo! Bring it on down. All right, our cat cow with noise, with sound effects even. How about that? Mr. Hurst Animal Ranch. That's right, Margaret. Okay, everybody, we're gonna go ahead and stand up. We're gonna pick up our mats. We're gonna go for a walk along what is called Mr. Hurst Esplanade. And as we take a walk, the camera is going to pan back over to that beautiful front yard view that William Randolph Hearst enjoyed 80 to 100 years ago when he would spend his summers out here with his wife and his 5 sons. And as you drink in that view, drink in a little bit of that water bottle as we move over and take a look at some ancient art, antique art that Mr. Hearst would collect. 500-year-old art. And for those of you that are interested and know a thing or two about the gods and goddesses of ancient Greek and Roman mythology, the camera's coming over and taking a look at a 500-year-old boy. And Margaret, what did you say about him? He doesn't look 500 years old.
Oh, I didn't think he'd be more than 4.
He looks like he's only about 3 or 4 years old. That's right. But he is 500 years old. And he is a marble statue. He is known as Cupid. And Cupid, some of you might know this already, he's the son of 2 gods and goddesses, or 1 god and 1 goddess. His mother was Venus, the mother of, the goddess of love. And his father was the god of war, Mars. And Cupid, he's always got something in his hand, as you can see, but we can't see what was in his hand. In the extended arm, it would have been an archery implement, and his backhand there would have been an arrow, because he's always shooting arrows into unsuspecting souls who may or may not want to fall in love. We are going to imitate Cupid here as our next exercise. So as we go ahead and turn away, we're going to want to go ahead and stay standing. Now you can do this seated too, but if you want the balance and core exercise portion of this, you want to stay standing. So we're going to go ahead, bring our feet maybe about hip width stance, shoulders up, shoulders back, proud chest, tight rear end, tight tummy. All right. We're going to bring the hands together, just like so. Okay. And then as we step forward with 1 foot, we're going to go ahead and bring the other leg back, just like that. And then the arm back, the leg back. Then bring it forward, and then step back with the arrow. Good. Now, Margaret likes to make sound effects, so she'll go, woo. All right. Woo. All right. How about 10 more of these, Margaret? How do we make this more challenging? Sylvia knows. We can go ahead, we can throw some of those weights into our hands if we want to, or we can even go faster. Just make sure that we are maintaining good form. Sorry, Sylvia, I don't want to trip you up there. Thank you, my dear. Woo! Don't forget to switch it up. How about 3 more? 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Put it on down. Okay. Staying with the theme of the arms and the shoulders. Did you catch your breath? You finally get a chance to see Hearst Castle there in the background. Yes, there's scaffolding there. And the reason for that scaffolding, because when you come back, and for those of you that never come here, but when you do come here, visit us either for the first time or a second or third time, we will be ready for you so you can see the beautiful castle and its facade. Now, that castle goes all the way up into the air, 137 feet. And I want you to pretend that you are the castle, your body. The 2 towers there are called Carillon Bell Towers, Carillon. They have 18 bells in each of those towers. And I want you to pretend that those arms are your tower. Okay, so your body is the castle. You'll bring your shoulders up and back, good stance. Get the shoulder width stance, and you'll bring your arms like so. All right. And here's your Carillon Bell Tower. We want to make sure that our arms aren't sagging down too much like this, but they're parallel with the ground, the upper arm, like so. And what you're going to do is you're going to say goodbye and say hello, and say goodbye and say hello, say goodbye and say hello. If this is too much for your shoulders, then I'm going to have you go ahead, bring those arms down as we did before at the side, palms out, and perhaps Margaret will show you the modification where we do the tetherball swing. Again, remember to square the hips straight ahead. We're only rotating from the waist on up. All right. Otherwise, we bring this up and we're going to say goodbye and we say hello. goodbye, and hello. Now make sure also that your wrists aren't coming back. You want to make sure those wrists are straight up and down with that forearm as you say goodbye and hello. How do we make this more of a challenge? Well, you can go ahead and do a little hip hinge as you say goodbye, and then come up with the hello. Hinge, goodbye, and hello. Let's try 10 of these to go. 1, 2. Help me count, ladies. You out there, help me count 2.
4,
Woo!
5,
Halfway there. Inhale down, exhale up.
7, 8, 9.
10. There it is. All right. Now those arms are worked out a little bit. Let's work that core a little bit more again, okay? Core and more. Haha, I made something rhyme. Dumb joke. Now as we go ahead and engage the core again, I want you to take a look at ancient Egypt. Wow, look at this. You're looking at statues, sculptures actually, that are over 3,000 years of age. These 4 pieces that you see, 2 headpieces on the side and the 2 statues there in the middle, sculptures, they're known as Sekhmet, Sekhmet. She is the Egyptian goddess and the protector of the sun god Ra, and Ra is symbolized by this circular disc that you see behind her head there. So she was the daughter of Ra and was the fierce protector of her father, the sun god. Notice on the top of her head there, there's a little piece. It's missing there. I mean, after all, she's about 3,600 years of age, but that was a cobra that sat up on her head. And as the camera shows you, you get a chance to see what a cobra looks like. And the cobra is important to Egyptian mythology as well as Sekhmet because cobras help to protect the sun god Ra. And cobras, in terms of exercises, help protect our lower back. So we're going to come down to the ground again. After you saw that cobra pose, we're going to look hopefully a little bit like that cobra. So we want to put those feet shoulder to hip width stance, shoulders up and back. Okay, tight tummy, tight rear end, proud chest. We'll do that hip hinge again like we did with the caterpillars. Come down to the squats, with the caterpillars, arms in front, and we're going to walk it all the way out onto our knees. Okay. Now, before we go to a cobra pose, I want to show what you can do if you need a little bit of a rest right here. You can go ahead, keep those knees bent, and you're going to go ahead and go into a little what's called a child's pose. So your head comes down, your arms can go out in front, you stretch your shoulders, or you can bring your arms back. That's a child's pose, and you'll just simply stay just like that. And Margaret might do that today, and she might also do the cobra pose. We're going to go ahead and come into the cobra pose, so we're going to bring our bellies all the way down to the mat, just like so. Toes pointed, tighten the rear end, hands at the side, elbows in. Try not to have the elbows out or we can hurt our elbows. What we're going to do is we're going to do what's called a baby cobra. We point the toes, legs off the ground, and we just simply come up like this. Baby cobra, baby cobra. You're going to feel a good stretch in your lower back right there. Okay? What do you want the adult cobra? How do you do that? You come straight up by pushing up like a cobra push up, straight up, eyes skyward, and then come back down. And come back up. And come back down. Notice my elbows, they are not coming out. They are aligned with my wrists and my shoulders. You don't want to hurt those elbows. Don't want to hurt those shoulders. And if you want more of a challenge in cobra, you go from cobra, toes underneath, into a downward facing dog. Now, Mr. Hurst loved all sorts of animals, and he loved dogs. His favorite species was a dachshund. So as you do your downward dog, if you choose to do this challenging exercise, think of Helena. Helena was his favorite dachshund. Cobra, Helena. Arf. We got cobra, Helena. Let's do 8 more of these. Great. Sylvia.
8, 7,
Woo! Stretch that lower back.
6, 5,
Halfway there.
4,
Come on. Margaret's doing the child's pose now.
2, 1.
Woo! Walk it on back up. Caterpillar, or just go ahead and stand up. Nice job. All right. Now, something else that's important to Sekhmet in ancient Egypt are the lotus blossom flowers. You will see embedded in the tiles here. Julia Morgan helped to create, like the lion tiles you saw earlier at Casa Del Mar. She helped to create these tiles too. Look at the lotus blossom flower. It is symbolic of life and creation. And of course, the sun god Ra is all about life. So the Egyptian lotus blossom flower is the basis of our next exercise. These two stairwells that you see are full of lotus blossom flower tiles and quite this beautiful Sekhmet statuary that you see. So we're going to do what are called lotus blossom flower rounders. I want you to think like a rainbow. You can do this seated or standing. We'll bring our feet closer together, maybe hip width stance here, shoulders up and back, good posture with the tummy and the rear end. We'll bring the arms out in front, just like so, palms facing each other. Then we go up overhead, and then we round. So we're just like those lotus blossom leaves, up and around. And you'll inhale up, and you'll exhale down. Now, what if we have issues with our shoulders, and we can't go overhead? Well, we can go ahead and just go out like a butterfly and come on in, or the tetherball swings. And perhaps Margaret will show you that modification if you're having issues with your shoulders. Otherwise, we bring the hands, the palms together, and then up and over, and then around. Together, inhale up, exhale. How do we make this more challenging? Sylvia will show you that. She goes up and around and a little bit faster, up and around a little bit faster. How do we make this even more challenging? We can do what's called a compound exercise. As you come up, spread your feet apart, further apart, and squat down as you come around, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and do this modification. Maybe the three of us rather, might be doing other modifications. And here we go for 10 more. Woo! Yep. Yep. Don't forget to breathe. Inhale, exhale. There it is. Woo! All right. We're going to go ahead and take a walk along this beautiful sidewalk known as the Esplanade, a 1/4 mile sidewalk that Mr. Hurst created so we could put 20 to 25 acres of gardens here. And as we do so, our camera person is going to show you a little bit more of those gardens. Let's go ahead and get a hydration station break while we're at it and enjoy the view. We'll catch our breath. As we catch our breath, we can walk in place. Just walk in place or march in place. Beautiful day here at Hearst Castle. Probably about 80 degrees Fahrenheit. That would be about 20 to 25 Celsius. And Mr. Hurst, being the very wealthy businessman that he was, he loved gold. And we're going to get a chance to look at some gold next. So we'll walk up these stairs towards what's called the south side or the south wing of the castle. And the camera will stop here for a little bit and focus in on this ironwork that you see. And that ironwork that you see was done by another craftsman in the 20th century. His name was Ed Trinkkeller. Julia Morgan would hire Ed Trinkkeller to do most of the ironwork around here. And notice the gold that you see in that window dressing there. That is 24 karat gold leaf. Gold leaf is a type of thin gold, like tissue paper, and it's then pounded into, in this case, iron. And I want you to focus specifically on the coat of arms up there in the middle of that beautiful iron work that you see. You see lions and you see castles there. Yep, that's 24 karat gold. And just as a teaser for next week, you want to stick around next week, we're going to be doing the gold tiles of the Roman indoor pool. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So I want you to take a look at the gold lions there. Notice they're on two legs. They're climbing, but not on the ground. They're climbing like a ladder. And that's the basis of our next exercise. Now, if you want to, you can sit yourself down if you're feeling a little out of breath, heart rate's too high, and you simply do the crawling with the arm, okay? Or if you want to, stay seated and just march in place on your chair. But if you're standing, you can march in place, you can crawl in place, or you can go ahead and do what Margaret, Sylvia, and I are going to do. We bring our right arm up and our left arm, or leg up, and then we alternate, just like so, just like so. Now, if we have shoulder issues, like I said, we can just march in place with our arms at our side. That's fine. And how do we make this more challenging? Well, Sylvia will show you we can go a little faster. And if you really want to make it a challenge, stay in one place and try to balance. Oh, yeah. Want even more of a challenge? Close your eyes while you do this. Balance and core. All right, I'm going to go back to my movement. Sylvia, let's go 15.
12, 11,
Count with us.
10,
9,
8,
8, 7, 6.
6,
Don't forget to breathe.
5, 4,
4.
3, 2,
Woo!
1.
Hello, heart rate. All right, hydration station, if you need it. We're going to go ahead and take a walk along South Wing here and take a look at some more Julia Morgan created artistry along with what her craftspeople did at the Faience factory in Berkeley, California. Now, we've been talking about tiles a lot today. Well, here's another set of tiles I'd like you to take a look at. Bunny rabbit. Julia Morgan created this, but she had her craftspeople do the actual casting of this at the Faience factory in Berkeley. And then over here, just right next to that bunny rabbit, is a dragon. And a dragon is known as a mythological lizard. And those of you that are familiar in your science classes with lizards, you know what lizards like to do. They like to lunge, okay? So we're gonna do some lizard lunges. What you wanna do, bring your feet closer together, closer than hip width stance for this one. Shoulders up and back. Drop those shoulder blades, tight tummy, tight rear end. And we're gonna either step forward and come down on the knee like so. Notice I've got a square angle here with the front, square angle with the leg in the back. Or if you prefer, you can come back like this. I like to come back personally myself. It's a little bit easier for my knees, okay? So we're just simply going to switch back and forth, lunge back or forward, lunge back. And you'll notice it's a little bit of a balance issue. Also make sure that the front knee is not coming in too much, not going out too much, all right? Now, what if we can't do the lunges with our knees or our hips? Well, we can go ahead and do a little scissor split like this. We can just hold the pose like this, maybe hold for 2 or 3 seconds and then switch. Hold the scissors pose. It's called a split squat. And it's a balance as well, okay? Or you can just go back and forth with a little bit of a hop. Well, it's not really a hop, but just a little bit of a push off of that rear foot, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and do the lunge, the reverse lunge. If you want more challenge, grab those weights. You go up overhead or with no weights, up overhead as you lunge. So as I come back, I'm gonna come up and go overhead. Come back, go up overhead. All right, we're gonna do 10 of these. And Sylvia, let's begin. Choose your modification. These take a while. Now, if you want to go faster out there in viewing land, please feel free to do so. 7. 7. Woo!
5,
Oh, yeah. Sylvia's got good pace.
4,
Few more.
2,
Woo! One more, everybody. Come on.
1.
Oh, yeah. There it is. Lizard lunges. Okay. We're going back to the bunny rabbit. Now, the bunny rabbit tile that you saw, think about what bunny rabbits like to do. Yep, they like to hop. Hop, 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 hop. Your heart rate's high. Your respiration rate is high. We're going to go ahead and keep going. You can sit it out, sit it out. Now, those of you that can't hop because you've got ankle issues or the back of your leg issues here, just go ahead and do toe raises. You can do this either seated or standing, by the way. Up and down, up and down. Shoulders up and back. Make sure you got good posture. Otherwise, Easter Bunny time. Do we hop, 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 hop? You can hop high or you can hop low. Okay? Or you can get really crazy with it and hop around. You can do a half circle and hop around and hop around. Now, the only thing I would say is you have a tendency to get dizzy. You probably don't want to hop around in circles, okay? Another challenge you can do, spread the legs farther apart, shoulders up and back, come down into a jump and squat. Jump, hop, squat. Jump, hop, squat. All right, you choose your modification. We're gonna count down from 10. Here we go.
10,
Woo!
9,
8, count with us. 6,
5, 4,
yep.
3, 2, 1.
Woo! All right, that finishes our exercises. Let's start that cool down. We're gonna walk over to this young boy here. He's a marble statue. And can you believe this, Margaret? He is 600 years old.
Oh, he doesn't look way over
Well, I would have
I
to,
wouldn't even.
I would agree with you on that. But he is a 600-year-old statue there, marble statue. And notice what he's doing. He's holding on to his goat buddy, but he's doing a nice arm stretch. And to bring that heart rate down from those bunny hoppers we just did, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna go ahead, either standing or seated. If you're standing, shoulders up and back, hip width stance. We're gonna go ahead and bring those arms out just like that and look to the sky. And you can pulse like you did with the camellia butterflies, just like that, okay? You want a little bit more challenge? Put one leg in front like a lunge, like a lizard lunge, like a split squat. Do the same thing. Just hold the pose. If that's too much for you, bring your arms down, grab a wrist from behind, and press that way. Sometimes that hurts our shoulders. And then just alternate, okay? And you'll alternate with that lunge or that split squat, okay? So let's go ahead and do a couple more of these. My lunge. One more time. And there it is. All right, ladies, we'll shake it out. We've got one final cool down to do. We're gonna grab our water. And as we do so, we're gonna pan the camera over to this very interesting looking antique that Mr. Hurst purchased. So, Margaret, do you know anything about this structure here?
Well, it's a wellhead. He bought several of these, and for its purpose, it had a function. That was what would be at the top of a well, like maybe in a villa, a house, and that's where the servants go to draw water. That's why it's at the top of it. But Mr. Hurst bought them just for decoration. There isn't actually any well drilled here. So it's for the artwork because these were quite ornate. They're works of art. This would be kind of like the water cooler in a modern day office. This is where
Gotcha.
the servants get together and have their gossip, you know, fetching the water for the household.
And this is where we can fetch our water. Yes, we can fetch our water for hydration. This is a hydration station.
It's
Isn't
a
it?
hydration.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and continue on over towards the other part of the castle on the south side.
I didn't mention these are 400 or 500 years old, but
400 or 500 years old. Oh my gosh. So we come over here to the southernmost end of the castle, and you'll see this young lady sitting in the sun. Now I know how to spell this particular statue, but I don't know how to say it. Margaret knows how to say it.
Automne au soleil,
And what does it mean, Margaret?
offering to the sun.
And that's what we're going to do. We're going to offer our stretches to the sun as our final cool down, our final exercise. So you want to go ahead, get your mat. I forgot my mat, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead. Nope, I'm good, but thank you very much. We're going to do a little hip hinge. We're going to do a little squat. Those arms out front, we're going to go ahead and crawl on out nice and easy. Come down to our rear ends, just like so. And we're going to make our offering to the sun. Notice this young lady who's made of cast concrete from the 20th century. She has her eyes towards the sun, au soleil in French, and she's got her arms outstretched like so, offering the fruits and the vegetables. She's also got her legs bent just like that. So you can go ahead and just kind of pulse back and forth and stretch out those back muscles, those shoulder muscles, those biceps and triceps that you worked out so hard. Back and forth. Nice and slow though, nice and slow. We don't want to hurt anything. Want more of a challenge? Straighten the legs and flex the feet. You can do the same thing, nice and slowly, and you'll get the back of your calves. Easy. Back and forth, back and forth. You want even more of a challenge? Take one leg and cross it over the other extended leg, and take the opposite elbow on the outside of the knee, and then rotate back, and you get your whole entire back stretch. You're squeezing yourself like a sponge, and it really helps with your abdomen and your digestive processes. At least that's what I read. Bring it back, go the other side. Same idea. So you choose your offering to the sun. Take a couple more of those stretches as we close out here. Take a few more of those stretches. Sylvia and Margaret are going to continue with that as I stand up and bring ourselves back to wearing our masks, putting the mask on, and wanting to wish you a wonderful day, Parks PE audience. Thank you for coming out and showing us yourselves today and showing yourselves as well physically. Be safe, wear that mask, wash your hands, don't forget to hydrate. We'll see you next week with some gold. Take care, everybody.